everybody, welcome to the Shack. I am Ria. My call sign is N2RJ, and we're here on a beautiful summer afternoon talking with none other than Bob WB2 NFL about one of my favorite electrical engineers, and that is none other than the man himself, Nikola Tesla. So his radio club is actually going to be doing a special event in honor of Nikola Tesla at the Tesla Center, the 165th birthday. So we have him here to talk about it. So Bob, how are we doing?
We're doing great. I see you're all set up in your shack and you're not operating today, huh?
I am in between, but you know what? I'm looking for that
Okay.
rare opening on 6. How about you?
Actually, I just put my station back together after field day.
Oh, well, yeah. I went around. I there was not as much activity as I would have liked to see, but it's glad to see people back out there because I know people have kind of been, they've been a little worried, and then some of the parks have been closed,
Hmm.
and you guys are out in Long Island. You guys operated field day out there,
Yes, we went to the Longwood Estate like we did in 2019,
right?
and we had a good time.
Oh, great, great, great. So that's great. So tell me a little bit about the event. You guys are going to set up and operate, and how long, and what first of all, what made you guys do this?
Well, like I said, we've been doing this for a few years. Of course, 2020 was a bust. There's a group called the Tesla Science Center, and it's a nonprofit group, and they're dedicated to preserving um, the uh, the myth and legend of Nikola Tesla.
Right,
Uh, and there's a site out here on Long Island in Shoreham called Wardenclyffe,
right.
and this was the site of Tesla's last large lab um, setup. So this is the place where he had erected a 185-foot tower to experiment with um, transmitting power over the air and through the ground. Of course, that was never quite finished. He ran out of funding.
Hmm.
What else is new? And this group, um,
Sounds like he was a ham.
yeah, I'm surprised he wasn't.
Yeah.
Uh, but then again, I guess during his time there wasn't any amateur radio.
Right.
Uh, so his lab there is, of course, in disrepair. It was being used by a few companies over the years, and it has really fallen into disrepair. So this group has been dedicated to restoring that lab, actually bringing it back to the actual configuration that it was. And that's what they call phase one of their restoration. Phase two, they're hoping to reconstruct the tower, which
Mm.
will be very interesting. I don't know if they're going to make it work, but
Mm.
they want to do it. So every year, as a fundraiser, they run one of these birthday celebrations. This year is the 165th birthday celebration, and there'll be all sorts of exhibitors. We'll be there.
Right.
I'm with the Radio Central Amateur Radio Club. We'll have a station set up. In fact, we'll be running a special event station, a November 2 Tango, N2 Tesla, if you will. And we'll be there to be making contacts to show the public amateur radio and um, to answer questions. One of the interesting things about this event that we've seen in the past is, I'm sure you've been at events where the most common question is, why didn't you just use a cell phone?
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
an event like this, everybody's into electronics or at least into technology, and the questions become uh, more deep. What frequency are you using?
Mm.
How far can you transmit? How much power are you transmitting? And does the Tesla coil that they demonstrate interfere with your radios?
Hmm. Yeah.
Now, let me
I.
just answer that last question. They have an inflatable 30-foot high Tesla coil that they
Wow.
demonstrate. Um, they let us know before they activate that, and we disconnect all of our antennas on the radios.
Wow. Okay. That's amazing. Yeah. I would imagine, wireless electricity would probably not be good. I mean, that's basically lightning, artificial lightning, right? Yeah.
It can be done without the sparks,
Okay.
but there seems to be a lot of, pardon the pun, potential.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's been interesting because I recently did a video about cooking chili and I used an induction cooker, which kind of has similar principles. I also have done experiments on with Tesla coil. I actually want to do a Tesla coil build on the channel too, and I'll be giving away a Tesla coil kit as well too. So that's really interesting. And your club is the Radio Central Amateur Radio Club. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Now tell me what. So I know your visitors asked this, but what frequencies, what modes are you going to be using? Phone, CW, digital, anything?
We'll be on 20, 40, and 30. 30 will be CW only.
Okay.
10 and 20, we will alternate between phone and digital. Having a computer for the public to see with stuff coming out on FT8 or if there's anything on PSK31, that draws a crowd and begs a lot of questions.
Yeah. Yeah, I would imagine. I recently gave a demonstration at a school and I was showing them a lot of digital stuff. They were keenly interested. Well, it sounds like a fun event. And also you guys are going to be offering certificates, QSL cards or anything like that, or?
Yes. Anyone who makes a contact with us that has a valid address on QRZ.com will receive an emailed certificate. If you contact us and you know that you don't have a valid email, just tell us the email over the air and we'll make sure you get a certificate by email.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. I know some of the other clubs in Long Island. I think Great South Bay, they do a lot of certificates and such like that too. And I think Limemark does as well too. So it's really nice to see that. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of interest. Well, Bob, thank you very much, and good luck in your event. I don't know if I'm going to make it out there, but who knows? It's going to be interesting. But I'll definitely be looking for you guys on the air, and I'll definitely going to amp this up because I think this is something that we want to promote. I think radio science is a very important part of amateur radio. So this is really nice. And do you have a website?
We have our website, yes, RCARC, Radio Central Amateur Radio Club, .org.
Okay, this will be somewhere on the screen somewhere,
Okay.
And in the video
Which should also be on the screen is the date and the time.
Yes.
July 10th, that's Saturday, July 10th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Super duper. Okay. Well, Bob, thank you very much for coming to Radio Shack today, and we'll see you at the event.
Thank you for having me.
All right, 7-3.
7-3.